On our anniversary, my fiancée said she forgot her wallet and left mid-dinner to grab it from home. 20 minutes later, I got a text. Change of plans at my ex's place. Don't wait. I replied, no problem. Then I packed her things, changed the locks, and mailed the ring to her ex, with a note, she's your problem now. 4 hours later, he called me swearing. She was outside his building with her luggage, begging him to let her in. You know you've reached a new level of pathetic when you're sitting alone at a 5-star restaurant on your anniversary, nursing an $80 bottle of wine while the waitstaff gives you those poor bastard looks. The kind where they're trying to seem professional, but you can practically hear them thinking, damn, he got stood up hard. That was me last Friday night. 32 years old, successful property developer, recently engaged to what I thought was the love of my life. Spoiler alert, she wasn't. Let me back up. Rachel and I had been together for 3 years, engaged for 6 months. She's a high-end real estate agent, attractive, charming. I was drawn to her confidence, her ambition. Should have paid more attention to the warning signs. The ex she'd occasionally mention with a little too much fondness. The mysterious girls' nights that left her phone mysteriously dead until morning. The way she'd sometimes go completely away for hours with flimsy excuses. But like an idiot, I believed her every time. Love makes fools of us all, right? Well, some more than others. Last Friday was our 3-year anniversary. I made reservations at Elysium, the kind of restaurant where they don't put prices on the women's menus, and a waiter stands by with a crumb scraper between courses. I'd arranged everything. Champagne on arrival, her favorite flowers on the table, the works. I even had a custom-made bracelet to give her as an anniversary gift. Not as expensive as her engagement ring had been, but still 5 figures sitting in a velvet box in my pocket. Looking back, I can see I was a textbook simp, always picking up the check, buying her lavish gifts, letting her drive the BMW I'd bought while she contributed next to nothing to our life together. The whole happy wife, happy life mentality had turned me into her personal ATM. But you know what they say about hindsight? It's 2020 and hurts like a bitch. She seemed off from the moment we arrived, checking her phone under the table, one eye on the door like she was expecting someone. I asked if everything was okay. Just waiting for a work email, she said. Classic Rachel deflection. We ordered appetizers, and she excused herself to the bathroom. Came back looking slightly agitated, but I ignored it. The entrees arrived. Wagyu beef for me, Chilean sea bass for her. That's when she patted her purse and did this exaggerated gasp. Oh my God, I forgot my wallet at home. I need to grab it real quick. She stood up, already grabbing her coat. I'll just run back and be right back. I frowned. Your wallet? Since when do you pay for our dinners? In 3 years, I could count on one hand the number of times she'd picked up a check, with fingers to spare. She laughed nervously. It's not about paying, it's about something important in there. 20 minutes, tops, keep my food warm. And then she was gone, clicking across the restaurant in her Louboutins, leaving me with a table full of food and a growing sense of unease. I waited, checked my watch, 15 minutes, then 20. The waiter came by, concern poorly disguised as attentiveness. Would sir like his companion's meal boxed up? I was about to say no when my phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. Change of plans at my ex's place. Don't wait. Just like that. No explanation. No apology. Not even the decency to dump me with a phone call. The restaurant suddenly felt too bright, too warm. People at nearby tables seemed to be staring as if they could somehow read the text on my phone and knew I was being humiliated in real time. I took a deep breath, then another. The waiter hovered awkwardly. Sir, is everything? I looked up at him, a strange calm washing over me. Actually, I'll take the check now. And yes, box up her meal. I paid the $300 plus bill, tipped the waiter generously. Not his fault my fiancé is a sociopath, and walked out with Rachel's untouched sea bass in a fancy container. In my car, I stared at her text for a full minute, then typed back, no problem, just that. No tears, no begging, no rage. Let her think I was taking it well. Let her think I was a pushover. It would make what came next all the sweeter. On the drive home, I called my buddy Mike, who works as a locksmith. Explained the situation. Dude, that's brutal, he said. Need me to come over? Yeah, tonight. Bring whatever you need to change every lock in the house. On it. Next call, my lawyer, Aaron. Yes, on a Friday night. That's why I have her on retainer. Cancel the prenup work, I told her. We'll need a different set of documents instead, and I want to sell the BMW immediately. The one in her name? Aaron asked. The one in my name that she drives, I clarified. Get the paperwork ready. Then I drove home to our house. Well, my house, technically. My name on the deed, my down payment, my mortgage that I'd been paying entirely on my own because Rachel was saving for our future. Right? The first thing I did when I got home was go to her jewelry box. The engagement ring I'd given her, a 2.5 carat diamond that set me back $21,000, was sitting there. She never wore it at home, claimed it was too fancy for every day. Now I understood. It was just a trophy, not a symbol of commitment. I pocketed the ring, then went to my safe and pulled out something else. An identical ring case containing a perfect cubic zirconia replica I'd had made 6 months ago. Call it insurance, call it paranoia, but something in my gut had told me to protect that investment. Then I methodically went through the house, gathering every single item that belonged to Rachel. Clothes, shoes, so many shoes, makeup, personal files, everything. I wasn't destructive about it. Didn't cut up her dresses or break her perfume bottles like some spurned lover in a bad movie. No, I was surgical, clinical. Each item carefully packed in boxes and suitcases. As for the gifts I'd given her over the years, those stayed. The Tiffany necklace, the Cartier watch, the designer handbags, all of it remained in my possession. I didn't buy them for her to keep after betraying me. Those would be sold or donated, but they certainly weren't going with her. By the time Mike arrived an hour later, I had the entire contents of Rachel's life stacked in our foyer. Damn, you don't mess around, he said, eyeing the mountain of luggage. Neither does she, apparently. Mike changed every lock in the house while I continued packing, boxing up the last of her bathroom products. When he finished, he handed me the new keys. What about her key to the BMW? He asked. Won't need it where that car's going, I replied. I'd already arranged for it to be picked up by a dealer in the morning. I found her key fob and added it to the small collection of her valuables I was keeping separate from the main pile. Mike left around 11 p.m., right as I finished cleaning out the last traces of Rachel from my home. But I wasn't done yet. Not by a long shot. I knew exactly who her ex was. Dylan, the supposedly toxic relationship she'd escaped right before meeting me. The guy she claimed was unstable and obsessive. The same guy whose name still lit up her phone regularly with texts she'd always quickly dismiss as just tying up loose ends. I'd met him once at a charity event last year that Rachel insisted we attend. She'd been visibly uncomfortable when we ran into him, made a big show of holding my hand, introducing me as her fiancé. Dylan had been perfectly civil, if a bit stiff. Shook my hand, congratulated us. I remembered thinking he seemed surprisingly normal for someone Rachel had described as practically a stalker. I found his contact info in Rachel's address book that she'd left in her desk. Because I'm not a complete psychopath, I didn't just show up at his place with all her stuff. Instead, I called a 24-hour courier service and arranged for everything to be delivered to his address. Everything except the fake ring. For that, I had special plans. While waiting for the courier, I drafted a letter. Dylan, since Rachel decided to spend our anniversary with you, I assume you're back together. Congratulations. Enclosed is the engagement ring I gave her, which she won't be needing anymore. She's your problem now. Best of luck. You'll need it. P.S. Her sea bass from dinner is in the small cooler. Hate to see good food go to waste. I put the fake ring and the note in a small package, added the container with her now cold anniversary dinner, and addressed it to Dylan for morning delivery. Paid extra for signed confirmation. By 1 a.m., the courier had come and gone with Rachel's possessions. I changed all the passwords to our joint streaming accounts, removed her authorized user status from my credit cards, and transferred her paltry portion out of our joint bank account into a new account in her name alone. I even remembered to call our security system company and remove her access code. Then I poured myself a scotch, sat down on my now half-empty couch and waited. The first text came at 2:18 a.m. WTF, Scott? Where are you? I'm at the house and my key doesn't work. I didn't respond. Are you seriously changing the locks because of one mistake? This is insane. Still nothing from me. Answer me. Where is all my stuff? I sipped my scotch, watching the texts roll in with increasing panic and outrage. Around 3 a.m., the calls started. I let them go to voicemail, each message more frantic than the last. At 4:23 a.m., my phone rang again. Not Rachel this time, but a number I didn't recognize. I answered, curious. What the F, man? A male voice, slurred and angry. Dylan. Problem? I asked calmly. Yeah, there's a freaking problem. Your psycho ex is sitting outside my building with like 20 suitcases, crying and screaming at me to let her in. Security's about to call the cops. I couldn't help myself. I laughed. Why the hell would you send all her shit here? We broke up years ago. That's curious, I replied, still perfectly calm. She left our anniversary dinner specifically to be with you tonight. Well, she did show up here, he admitted, lowering his voice slightly. But I didn't ask her to. She just appeared, all dressed up, saying she'd left you and wanted to pick up where we left off. I told her I wasn't interested in being her backup plan. So you did see her tonight, I clarified. Yeah, but just to tell her to get lost. I've moved on. Got a girlfriend who isn't a manipulative psycho. Last thing I need is Rachel drama in my life again. That makes two of us, which is why, like the note said, she's your problem now. Did you seriously mail me her engagement ring and leftover fish? Special delivery, I confirmed. Consider it a parting gift. He actually laughed at that, some of the anger leaving his voice. That's cold, man. Respect. But just so you know, I'm not letting her in. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Fair enough. Put her on the phone. There was shuffling, muffled voices. Then Rachel's tearful voice. Scott? Baby, this is all a huge misunderstanding. I cut her off. Your things have been delivered. The ring is with Dylan. Your portion of our joint account has been transferred to a new account in your name at First National. The locks have been changed, as has the security code. Oh, and the BMW has been sold. Do not come back to the house. Any attempts to enter will be considered trespassing. We're done. But where am I supposed to go? She wailed. That sounds like a you problem. Maybe try the ex you were actually with tonight. It was a mistake. I was just confused. Goodbye, Rachel. I hung up, blocked both numbers, and finished my scotch. The next morning, I woke up feeling strangely light. The house was quieter, emptier, but somehow less suffocating. I made coffee, updated my relationship status on social media, instantly triggering a barrage of messages from mutual friends, and started planning the rest of my life. Rachel free. That was a week ago. Since then, she's tried everything. Showing up at my office, security escorted her out. Sending her friends to plead her case, I declined to discuss it. Even getting her mother to call me. I explained exactly what Rachel had done, and her mother actually apologized to me before hanging up. The best part? She has no idea the ring Dylan received was a fake. The real one is sitting in a safe deposit box at my bank, waiting to be sold when the market's right. Not because I need the money, but because every cent of it will go toward the down payment on a vacation property I've had my eye on. A place Rachel always said was too remote and not social enough. Sounds perfect to me now. The bracelet I'd planned to give her that night? Returned it, used the money to book a solo trip to Greece next month. The half-empty closet and dresser drawers, already filled with new things I've always wanted, but Rachel thought were tacky or unnecessary. The BMW was sold within 48 hours through a dealer connection of mine. Rachel's personal belongings were the only things she got to keep, and even those were stranded outside Dylan's building until she could get a friend to help her move them to a storage unit. Life's too short to spend it with someone who sees you as their backup plan, and too valuable to waste on someone who doesn't value you. Update 2 weeks later. First off, thank you all for the overwhelming support and the awards. Didn't expect this post to blow up the way it did. For those asking for updates, yes, Rachel is still trying to contact me, though the attempts have become less frequent. She's currently couch surfing between friends' places, apparently. Dylan wants nothing to do with her, and from what I've heard, she's been blacklisted by half our social circle. I've learned some interesting details from mutual friends. Turns out, this wasn't a one-time indiscretion. Rachel had been seeing Dylan off and on for at least 6 months, whenever I was traveling for work. The girls' nights and work events were often just covers for her to meet up with him. He thought they were having a casual fling, She was apparently building it up to be more in her mind. The night of our anniversary, she decided to finally choose him or me. Left dinner to go throw herself at him, only to discover he wasn't interested in anything serious with her. When he rejected her advances, she tried to crawl back to me, only to find I wasn't the doormat she thought I was. Regarding the ring, Rachel finally realized it was a fake when she tried to sell it to cover her first month's rent on a new apartment. The jeweler took one look and told her it was cubic zirconia. Apparently, she had a complete meltdown in the store. The real ring is now sold, and I used the money as planned, put a deposit on that vacation property last week. Some of you have asked if I've started dating again. Not yet. I'm taking time to recalibrate what I want and need in a relationship. The Greece trip is still on, and I'm looking forward to clear blue water and a clear head. My lawyer Erin has been a godsend through all this. Not only did she handle the BMW sale, but she also drafted a cease and desist letter when Rachel tried claiming I'd stolen gifts that were rightfully hers. Turns out, legally speaking, gifts given during a relationship remain the property of the recipient, but an engagement ring is considered a conditional gift contingent on marriage occurring. Since Rachel broke that condition by cheating, I was fully entitled to take it back. Rachel's mother called again, this time not to beg for forgiveness, but to ask if I could help Rachel financially, just until she gets back on her feet. I politely declined and suggested perhaps Rachel should have thought about financial security before nuking her relationship on our anniversary. Life is strange sometimes. You think you know exactly where you're headed, and then one text message changes everything. But I'm starting to think maybe that change was exactly what I needed. Edit. To answer the most common questions, yes, everything I did was legal. The house is solely in my name, and we weren't married yet, so changing the locks was within my rights. The joint bank account only had our household expenses money, which I split fairly. The BMW was in my name only, so selling it was completely legal. And no, I didn't throw away any of her important documents or legal papers. Those were all carefully packed and delivered along with her other belongings. Edit 2. For those suggesting I should have confronted her at the restaurant or made a bigger scene, that's not my style. The best revenge isn't hot and flashy, it's cold and precise. Besides, making a scene would have just given her a story to twist, to make herself the victim. Strategic silence followed by decisive action is always more effective. Final update, 1 month later. This will be my last post about the Rachel situation, as there's nothing more to say after this. I ran into Dylan at a local bar last week. Surprisingly, we ended up having a few beers together. He filled me in on his side of the story. Rachel had been pursuing him relentlessly for months, even after he told her repeatedly he wasn't interested in rekindling anything. The night of our anniversary, she showed up at his place uninvited, already spinning stories about how she'd left me and was ready to start fresh with him. According to Dylan, he shut her down immediately, told her he was seeing someone else and wasn't interested in being her plan B. That's when she tried to stay the night anyway, claiming she had nowhere to go. He refused, and that's when I had all her stuff delivered and he called me. "You dodged a bullet," he told me over beers. When we dated years ago, she did similar stuff, always keeping her options open, always with one foot out the door. The strangest part of the evening was realizing how similar Dylan and I are. Same taste in music, similar hobbies, even the same favorite brewery. It became clear that Rachel has a type but can't seem to commit to it. As for Rachel herself, she's moved to her mother's place in Phoenix. Apparently quit her real estate job suddenly, told everyone she needed a fresh start. One of our mutual friends let slip that she's already on dating apps there, using the same photos from when we were together, minus me cropped out. Some people never change. I leave for Greece next week. The vacation property is coming along nicely, closing scheduled for when I return. I've been renovating the house too, replacing furniture that reminds me of Rachel, painting rooms colors she hated, transforming the space into something that's completely mine. The fake engagement ring saga had an amusing epilogue. Rachel apparently tried to sue me for the value of the real ring, claiming I'd stolen it. Her case was dismissed when Erin produced documentation showing I'd purchased both rings, the real one and the replica, and Rachel had abandoned the real one at our home before our breakup. Several friends have tried to set me up with someone new, but I'm not ready. Not because I'm hung up on Rachel. That ship has sailed, hit an iceberg, and sunk to the bottom of the emotional ocean, but because I'm enjoying my own company too much right now. The house feels like mine again. My schedule is my own. The only drama in my life is whether to have Thai or Italian for dinner. Someone commented that the best revenge is living well. They're right. But I'd add that the best living happens when you stop seeing yourself through someone else's eyes and start building a life that feels authentic to you, regardless of who's watching. To everyone who offered support through this bizarre chapter of my life, thank you. Your comments and messages kept me grounded when I might have otherwise doubted myself. To anyone going through something similar, it gets better. The embarrassment fades, the hurt dulls, and eventually, you'll find yourself laughing about it over beers with your ex's ex, which is possibly the strangest form of closure, but closure nonetheless. Edit 3. For those keeping score, the final tally of Rachel's attempts to contact me: 47 calls, 118 texts, 22 emails, 3 handwritten letters, 5 deliveries of various gifts, all returned, and 1 attempted break-in that my security system thwarted. She even tried to crash a business dinner I was having with clients, claiming to be my fiancé who was running late. The restaurant staff, who knew me well and had been briefed on the situation, escorted her out before she reached my table. Some people really don't know how to take no for an answer.